Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I am Harrison Graham. You guys wanted it, so here we go. 7-round mock draft coming your way starting in just a moment. As you guys know, want to provide some background information. Bears don't have a first-round pick. Do have 2 second-round picks, though. No third, no fourth, although a comp 4th-round pick could be coming in the near future. But for today's mock draft, no 4th-round pick via the Draft Network simulation. And as you guys now know, not a ton of cap space for Chicago, just over $13 million, so this is an important draft to hit on some players. Now, Bears have a lot of needs. Tight end and offensive line, I believe, are the 2 biggest ones. They need some pass rush help opposite of Khalil Mack. Cornerback could be a need as well, with Prince Mukamara likely getting cut. And then I'll throw wide receiver on there also. Taylor Gabriel could get released. I think Mitch Trubisky could use another weapon on the outside. And speaking of wide receiver, how about Tee Higgins? Now, I don't know if he's actually going to fall this far, but in this particular mock draft, I got him at number 43 overall, the Clemson wide receiver. Really talented player, good catch radius, does a good job of high pointing the football. He is a deep threat. Now, he's not elite at really anything, but he's very good at everything. I think this guy is a 10-year, 12-year pro, is a really good number 2 NFL wide receiver. He has kind of a low ceiling as far as a number 1 goes, but I think he'll be a good number 2 for a very, very long time. You guys see the production, the average yards per catch there at almost 20. He is a big play wide receiver. And if you put him on the opposite side of Allen Robinson, I think he is an excellent selection for the Chicago Bears. What do you want the Bears to do with the 43rd pick? Who do you want the Bears to draft with their first pick in the NFL draft? A lot of, there's some split between this fan base. A lot of you guys want a quarterback. A lot of you guys are saying, quarterback's not a need. Build around Mitch. So let me know, who do you want the Bears to draft with the 43rd pick? You might get hit with the YouTube ad break, so this will be the pinned comment. Go ahead and answer it. Scroll back up. Video will be back up and playing. Now you look at the Bears wide receiver depth chart. I mentioned it. Allen Robinson. I like Anthony Miller. I think he's better in the slot anyway. You draft Tee Higgins on the outside opposite of Robinson, you're feeling pretty good. Taylor Gabriel's probably going to get cut. We'll see what happens with guys like Riley Ridley moving forward. Cordero Patterson, he could get released as well. But I think that the Bears wide receiver unit could be very, very good if they add someone like Tee Higgins. Now, there were some other wide receiver options on the board as well. Brandon Ayuk, KJ Hamler, some other options. Quarterback Jacob Eason was on the board. I've seen him mocked to the Bears a few times. Antoine Winfield, Lloyd Cushenberry, some other options as well for Chicago. These are some of the guys I considered with this pick, but I went with Tee Higgins, the wide receiver out of Clemson. Now, if you guys want more Bears free agency draft off-season coverage, this is the place to be. YouTube.com/Bears. Now, go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button. We're going to ramp up our coverage as we get closer to the NFL draft. Might even do a couple more mocks before we get to late April and the NFL draft. So go ahead and subscribe. We'll have you guys updated throughout the offseason. Second pick here, the number 50 overall pick. So just a handful of picks later, I got the Bears addressing offensive line. Matt Hennessy, the center out of Temple. Now, he offers that versatility where he can play center or guard, which is nice for Chicago because the interior part of this offensive line is very much in flux. Kyle Long retired, so it just wasn't very good in general. So Chicago needs to address this offensive line, and Matt Hennessy, being a versatile player, provides a lot because Whitehair and Daniels, they alternated center and left guard last year. Now, Whitehair played better as a center and Daniels played better as a left guard. So I think you keep those guys there. Hennessy plugs in as your right guard for who's the guy who retired? Who did I just say, Tom? Yeah, Kyle Long, who just retired. So he's your right guard. Coward's going to be a free agent. I think Hennessy plugs in right away and is a day one starter, which is good value in the middle of the second round. Now, there were some other players on the board I considered. Winfield was still there, the safety out of Minnesota, which could be a need with HaHa Clinton-Dix set for free agency. Austin Jackson, the tackle. Ashton Davis, the safety out of Cal. Jake Fromm's there, too, the quarterback out of Georgia. You guys know me. I'm not a big Fromm guy. I would rather keep Trubisky and build around him than draft the Georgia quarterback. But what do you think? What is the Bears' biggest need in the NFL draft? Let me know. Who do you think the Bears should target? What position do the Bears need to look at the most in the NFL draft? Okay, like I said, don't have a third, don't have a fourth round pick. I think the Bears will get a fourth round comp pick, but as of now, they do not have one as we use the Draft Network simulation for this mock draft. So let's go to round 5, pick 145, J.R. Reed, the safety out of Georgia. Look, very aggressive in the box safety, which is an ideal fit next to Eddie Jackson. Now, can J.R. Reed come in and start as a rookie, a day 3 pick? I'm not sure, but this is good value. He plays with good attitude. He's very good against the run. He'll get in people's faces. He'll mix it up. Started this past year for Kirby Smart's defense at Georgia, which led the nation in points allowed at just over 12 points per game. 54 tackles, had a pick, had several pass breakups as well. Now, if you're asking him to be a deep cover safety, you got the wrong player here. He is playing at his best when he can get downhill and light people up. You look at this secondary as of now, you feel good about Fuller and Skrine right there. You like Eddie Jackson, just gave him an extension. We'll see if Clinton Dix is back in 2020. I think a lot of teams are going to be interested in him, and the Bears don't have a ton of cap space. I think Amukamara gets cut on the other side as well at corner, but I think this could be a good selection for the Chicago Bears. Some other players on the board, a couple other safeties too. Jordan Fuller, Julian Blackmon were available. Trajan Bandy was on the board as well. Another wide receiver, Michael Pittman. I was surprised he fell this far on this particular mock. And then Joe Bashie, the linebacker out of Michigan State. Those are some other players I considered at this time. Now, today's show is brought to you by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sports book. Go to this link, chatsports.com/bet. You can bet on all kinds of stuff, including looking ahead to 2020. Projected win totals are out. The Bears are projected to go 8-8 again. I think they'll be better, so maybe take the over on that one. Lions at 6.5, Packers at 9.5. Vikings at 9.5 as you look at the NFC North projected win totals. You can bet on all of this stuff at BetDSI, chatsports.com/bet. Use our promo code NFL120 to get that 120% deposit bonus. Next up here, we got Justin Herron, the offensive tackle out of Wake Forest. Interesting player here, 6-year player at Wake Forest because he tore his ACL in 2018, redshirted as a freshman, so he earned a 6th year of eligibility in college football, which was nice, got more experience, 51 career starts in his career. Has the length at 6'5", but he's only 290. I'd like to see him get over 300 pounds. Doesn't block with a ton of power as a run blocker. I think with the guy here, Day 3 offensive lineman, can you get a swing tackle? Can he be your swing tackle for the next few years? I think that's kind of what you're hoping for with a guy like Herron. Other players on the board here at this time, you had Antoine Brooks Jr., the safety out of Maryland, Michael Divinity, DJ Wanham out of South Carolina, Shewo Olanolua, the running back out of TCU, Justin Strad, the linebacker out of Wake Forest. Those are some other guys on the board in this range. Now, speaking of offensive line, we've taken a couple of them here. Bigger need to fill for the Bears. Is it guard or is it tackle? I still think it's guard. I know the tackles did not play well last year. Leno was pretty bad, but he was good in 2018. I'm optimistic he can bounce back, but let me know what you guys think. Type G for guard, type T for tackle. Next pick here, Michael Divinity here in round 6 as well. Pick number 180. Look, raw player, but he's got the tools. He's got the tools really to be a day 2 pick, but he just hasn't produced. He had some injuries last year. The good news here, as far as fit with the Bears go, he fits as a 3-4 edge rusher. That's what the scheme for the Bears, opposite of Khalil Mack. You probably release Leonard Floyd, plug in Michael Divinity as a rotation type of pass rushers. Now, only played in 5 games last year, but he had 3 sacks in those games for LSU, so he was productive last year when he got on the field, was starting to put it all together, then he gets banged up with the leg injury, so we'll see what his draft stock ends up being, but I think he's a player. We haven't seen the best of him yet, and so if you can get a guy like this in round 6, you're feeling very, very good about it. Other players here, Shewo Olanolua was still there, Wanham was still there, Strad's still there. Remember, these picks were very close together as right now this is the Eagles pick from the Jordan Howard trade. It could move up to a round 5 pick, but as of now, still a 6th round pick. Stanford Samuels and Geno Stone on the board also. Who is your favorite player in the 2020 NFL draft? Out of all the players, who is your favorite one? Is it Joe Burrow? Is it the obvious guy? For me, it's Chase Young. I would love to get him on this defense opposite of Khalil Mack. Obviously, that is not going to happen, but let me know. Type your favorite player in the comments down below. Now, Bears fans, we still have a ton of gear on sale. A lot of this stuff up to 50% off with our partner, Fanatics. Chatsports.com/Bears sale. We've got polos, we've got hoodies, we've got hats. I like this flat bill. These are starting to fly off the shelves as they continue to be on sale. Chatsports.com/Bears sale. If you want to find some of this stuff, it'll be in the link. It'll be in the comments. It'll be in the description. The link will be. It'll make it easy for you to go to that site and take advantage of these deals today. Bears address running back in round 7, A.J. Dillon. This guy had incredible production at Boston College. And you're asking, okay, why is he falling to round 7? Well, he's 6 foot, 250 pounds, and he can't really catch the ball, so he doesn't offer much. He doesn't have a ton of speed, but short yardage situations, look, the Bears have their 3-down guy in Montgomery. They've got Tariq Cohen as their gadget guy. Don't really have a third back. A.J. Dillon, short yardage, round 7, sign me up. I mean, you see the production at Boston College. Keep in mind, BC stunk, and he still put up these numbers. 38 touchdowns in 3 seasons, ran well over 1,000 yards in all 3 years. If he went back to Boston College, he would have gotten close to being one of the highest rushing players in college football history. Decides to go pro, so I've got him. I was able to get him in round 7 in this mock, and I'm feeling pretty good about that. Some other players I looked at here, Austin Mack, the wide receiver out of Ohio State, could have been another weapon on this offense. Darius Anderson out of TCU, Reggie Robinson, James Lynch, the defensive lineman out of Baylor. He's a nice versatile player on day 3. Then Trevis Gibson, the defensive end out of Tulsa. Now, there's a lot surrounding Mitch Trubisky and what the Bears might do at quarterback this offseason. I've got trade targets up on the channel if you want to go check that out. 6 players the Bears could trade for at quarterback. But we're talking about the draft today, so should Chicago draft a quarterback? Type Y for yes, type N for no. In this mock, I don't have them drafting a quarterback, so it's just kind of the way it fell. I decided to go in a different direction. But let me know if you think the Bears should draft a quarterback. Which brings me to the last pick, and just a side note on this pick as well. You guys are probably saying, Bears don't have 2 7th-round picks. Well, what the Draft Network is doing is that 5th-round pick from the Raiders from the Khalil Mack trade, it hasn't completely come through here yet, so they've got it as a 7th-round pick on their simulator, so keep that in mind. The Bears aren't actually going to have 2 7th-rounders, but for the purpose of this exercise, James Prochet, the wide receiver out of SMU, I don't think he's fallen this far. Very, very productive player. Can play inside, can play outside, runs good routes. Now, he's not a great athlete, but put up monster numbers last year at SMU and did throughout his entire career. 15 touchdowns, over 1,200 yards, 111 catches. He's a quarterback-friendly type of player. We'll see how he translates to the NFL, but he was very good in college. I think he's got a chance to stick in the NFL as a slot type of receiver who can play some outside as well. Again, some other players on the board. Austin Mack, Robinson were still there. Gibson was as well. David Dowell, the safety out of Michigan State, and then the offensive tackle, Calvin Throckmorton, out of Oregon. I already took a couple of offensive linemen. I got a little fun. I took James Prochet, the wide receiver out of SMU. So let me know, grade this mock draft, A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know how you guys think I did. I'll give myself a solid B+. Certainly could have probably done a little bit better, but I like some of the players we took. I think we filled some needs for the Chicago Bears. And just to recap it, here it is. Tee Higgins, the wide receiver out of Clemson, gives Trubisky another weapon. Matt Hennessy, you get a nice interior offensive lineman there in round 2 as well. J.R. Reed, the safety out of Georgia. Justin Herron, the offensive tackle out of Wake Forest. So a couple of offensive linemen there. And then the last 3 here, Michael Divinity Jr., the edge rusher out of LSU. A.J. Dillon, the running back out of Boston College. And then SMU wide receiver James Prochet. That rounds out my Bears 7-round mock draft.